Tips with Tony. Tips with Tony. All about nutrition from your favorite dietitian. Everything you need to digest in your mind. Tips with Tony. Tips with Tony. Making you healthier one bite at a time. With Tony. Woo.
Hello and welcome to the Tips with Tony podcast. I'm Tony Marinucci, your registered dietitian, helping you get healthy one bite at a time. I'm very excited for you to hear from my very next guest. I have Miranda. She is a trainer, co-founder, and CEO of Street Parking Fitness. She does incredible stuff with her and her husband, and she's going to talk about what it means to raise a family, run a business, and thrive at it, and keep it together and take care of yourself at the same time. So if you are a mom, a business owner, or someone who's just interested in getting into fitness and being able to commit to it and make it part of your lifestyle, then you're going to really enjoy this episode. So Miranda, welcome to the podcast.
Oh, thank you. That was a perfect introduction. What else is needed, I guess?
Well, I would love for you to go a little bit deeper, if you wouldn't mind, maybe just sharing who you are, what you do, and most importantly, why you do what you do.
Yeah, so Miranda Alcaraz, I am a 38-year-old mother of two. I have a 1-year-old and an almost 4-year-old. Wow. And owner of Street Parking. I've been in fitness and working in fitness since I was like 17, so over 20 years at this point. And have been everything from a group fitness instructor, which is how I started when I was like in college, to a personal trainer, to like a nutrition. I've not a registered dietitian or anything like that, but helping people with their nutrition. I was a gym owner for a couple of years. I worked for CrossFit headquarters for 8 years, traveling on their seminar staff all over the world, coaching coaches and competing. I competed in CrossFit as well. And then after all of that was over, Street Parking, which is an online fitness program and community, kind of started and got to where it is by accident. We posted some workouts that people could do at home, and it just kind of exploded and became like a membership. And our goal was to have 100 members. Now we have almost 35,000 members. I
was going to say, you definitely have more than that. I can't really tell. That's amazing.
Yeah, Street Parking is almost 5 years old now, and my son is almost 4. So it all kind of happened at once. And all kind of happened on accident. So yeah,
nothing is ever on accident. Sorry if you guys heard a thump, my microphone fell, but we're good now. Definitely nothing on accident. That's amazing. Where did the Street Parking name come from? I'm curious. Is there a reason why you called it that?
Yeah, because so in California, when we moved in together, we just turned our garage into a gym. And that was the same time when we had started the Street Parking Instagram, and we're playing around with the idea of making an actual program that people could like subscribe to. And if you turn your garage into a gym, then you end up, well, if you live in California, you can't afford a driveway. So you park on the street, basically.
Oh, I get it. Oh my God, that's awesome. I love that. Yeah, just from following your page, I can see everybody that does your workouts is able to do it within like a smaller, so even a garage is pretty big, but even your workouts, like they can be done in like the smallest of spaces, you know? Yeah. So I love that about what you guys do. It makes it really easily accessible for anybody to do the workout. You don't actually have to turn your garage into a gym to do it, but I also love that concept. Yeah,
I traveled a lot. So for 8 years, like I mentioned, I worked for CrossFit. So I did a lot of hotel gym workouts over those years where it was, and most hotel gyms have a pair of dumbbells. So when we started Street Parking, the idea was creating quality, high quality, not cheesy programming and fun workouts. They're very CrossFit style workouts for sure, because that's both of our backgrounds. My husband competed in CrossFit as well.
Oh wow!
But they could be done with just a pair of dumbbells. So if you only had a pair of dumbbells at home, you could do all of our workouts, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, and I feel like depending on wherever your level is at too, if you're just getting started, I'm sure even you don't need weights a lot of the times if you're first getting started. Depends, who does it. Is your main, like, would you say, I mean, you have 35,000 members, that's a lot. So, but would you say it's for all fitness levels?
Yeah, so it started out as just 3 versions of the workout a day that we would post. It was like the dumbbell option, and then it was like, hey, if you have, because it's pretty common now, especially now after 2020, for people to have a little bit more than that even at home. So
Yeah.
you have dumbbells, we've got a version of the workout for you. If you've got more than that, maybe you've got a barbell and some plates or like a pull-up bar or something at your house, then we've got a version for you. Or if you've decked out your garage, or if you're doing these workouts in an actual gym, we've got a version for you. And they weren't levels. It was just like, hey, we're going to modify it and customize it using what we know as coaches to make the workout work for what you have.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how it started. And then about a year into it, we created what's called the Shift program, which is for people who maybe are new to this type of training, are coming back from illness or injury. My parents use the Shift program. They're both like almost 70 years old. Yeah. So I used Shift when I was pregnant both times and postpartum. So yeah, we do have stuff for every fitness level for sure.
That's awesome. That's really, really awesome. So you've been in the industry for a while now. You have a lot of experience. What would you say are like the most common things that you see that maybe people either need to hear, maybe some myths, or just like some just common mistakes people make when it comes to their fitness?
The main points that we try to drive home, and they're not what people want to hear because, and you know this, like people want like some secret, some like supplement or some like special workout program that's like brand new and never been heard of before. And that's just not it. You'll be sold that for sure. I mean, we're sold it every year at New Year's and all year long, right? But the truth is, and what I found not only for myself personally, but for the thousands of people that we've worked with, is what is missing is consistency. And the biggest myth is that your workout needs to take a certain amount of time or look a certain way in order for it to be effective. And those are definitely myths that we work really, really hard to combat. And our 2 like hashtags that we use a lot is consistency is key and more than nothing. Like, even if you only finish half the workout and then your baby wakes up from their nap, that workout is more effective than if you hadn't have worked out at all. And people just have a really hard time. They think it needs to be at a gym for a certain amount of time and like this perfectly laid out plan. And it's just not true. Results are going to come from consistency.
Definitely. I saw you have like a challenge. Maybe you can speak more about it. I forget the actual name of it, but where you put out is 1 workout a week. For a whole year, right? Is that correct?
It's for 6 months. So yeah, we
6 months. But that's incredible. Like, because I feel like so many challenges are like, 75 hard or like, so which is 2 a day, like 2 a days or, every day for 30 days or, like, it's just like, we're like the challenges that are normally out there are just straight up ridiculous. But what you are encouraging, really, you're practicing what you preach, which will help people be consistent. 1 good workout a week. And when I say good, I mean, you did it, like, is amazing. And I don't think a lot of people give themselves enough credit for that.
Yeah. And I think 6 months is a long time too. And typically, and you know this, if somebody does 1 workout, the likelihood of them doing 2 or 3 is so much higher. So we're like, if we can get them committed to at least doing that 1, as opposed to like, oh, it's been 3 weeks since I've worked out, and then it's harder and harder to get back into it. We had like 5,000 people finish this first round of 2021. And we call it the vault. Sorry about my barking dog, by the way.
It's okay. We love animals. I'm surprised my cats are quiet right now.
Yeah.
I don't even know where they're at.
So our whole program is about, hey, we're going to give you workouts where you don't need to leave your house. And a lot of our members, they have gym memberships and they do go to gyms, but we all know like sometimes something comes up and now you can't make class time and the go-to is like, well, I guess I can't work out today. And that's not true. Right. If you have a pair of dumbbells laying around, or even like you said, if you don't, there's still stuff you can do. So you don't have to like completely give up on the day. And we're trying to show people that it's so much more simple than they think that needs to be.
Yeah. I think that's very apparent in what you preach. Talk more about like running this business, having a family, like taking care of yourself. Like, I feel like as a mom, I'm not a mom, but I'm just saying like for you being as a mom, like it's probably hard to fit things in, but you make it seem so easy. So can you just speak to that a little bit?
Yeah. I hope I don't make it seem too easy. It's definitely not easy. Fitness is such a part of our lifestyle that, it's not something that we like question like, oh, will I work out today? it's no different than it's like, will I take a shower today or will I brush my teeth? Like no one wants to floss at night, but we do it anyway, right?
Right.
And with the type of training that we do, we don't need a lot of time. We can do it if our kids are around. We have help with our kids, so that doesn't happen for us very often, but it definitely does, like on the weekends and stuff. And then, I mean, I'm a very unorganized person, and it's kind of like day to day, and I'm still like learning how to balance everything. And I know that balance like isn't a real thing. Like sometimes it's more work, and sometimes it's more family, and sometimes it's whatever. And you just kind of have to go with it. And I think just have your priorities. And again, realizing that being a CEO doesn't have to look like what it looks like on TV. You know what I mean? Like when we were talking before we started the podcast, it's like, I'm here in a t-shirt and denim shorts and I'm like telling you that I'm a CEO. Like it feels weird, but I think we all need to just switch what that means and what being a mom means and what fitness should look like. And you just have to make it look like what works for you in your life.
Yeah, I think that's so powerful. And that's, like you said, once you make it as your lifestyle, it's no longer like you feel like you're really just going back to behaviors and habits. And it's like a self-discipline really. And then it's just like you said, you just do it. You just do it. I think it's just, you have to be clear about who you want to be.
Yes.
You know, and who you are. And then that will help you figure out what you need to do. So that's awesome. So I think everybody wants to know, like you mentioned earlier about the trendy diets, not diets, the fitness plans, right? So like trendy fitness workouts and, but really it comes down to just like basic functional training. How can someone find what would be the best suited like workout for them?
There has to be like a couple elements to it. Number one, if you hate it, then you're probably not going to do it. So now there are people who just hate exercise in general. So you might want to start with something that you just hate less than everything else, I guess. For us, we encourage our members like, hey, create some really cool playlists, create something that you're excited about. Maybe buying new workout clothes is what's exciting for you. Like you might know you're going to hate the workout or whatever, but you are pumped to go to Lululemon or whatever and get some new stuff. Like reward yourself with that to keep you motivated. And then from there, you have to also find something that pushes you a little bit. So if you love it because it's never uncomfortable, you need to have like the awareness to say like, why do I like this so much? I like this so much because I'm never uncomfortable. If you're never uncomfortable, you're not going to see changes.
Right.
So there's obviously a difference between like hurting yourself and being uncomfortable. That's not what I'm saying at all. But something that pushes you outside of your comfort zone and encourages you to try something that maybe you were like, oh, I didn't think that I could do that, or I didn't think that I could go that fast, or I didn't think that I could finish that workout, in the amount of time they said it should take, and I did it. Because those little achievements actually breed so much motivation.
Yeah.
If you go into a workout and you do something that you knew you were going to be able to do, it's good. It can be a good workout, but you're not going to be like, oh my gosh, I'm so proud of myself. I want to keep going and see what else I'm capable of. So, and then, if you have a hard time working out at home, a lot of our members, like I said, they'll still go do our workouts at regular gyms. Cause they're like, I just like being in the atmosphere. I have a really hard time at home. I have a really hard time getting into it. So you can find a place that works for you too. And just always know that the fewer barriers to showing up, the better. So if getting to that place is hard, then again, the consistency is going to be really hard for you. And just having some backup plans. But as far as finding the type of fitness, I am not like something, for example, that's super trendy right now is Peloton. I think Peloton is great. Like they've got the music going for them. They've got, their spunky trainers and stuff like that. And if that motivates you and actually gets you to show up, then that's awesome.
Right.
But there's a huge price tag that goes with that as well. And so, we just try to help people find what's realistic for them and teach them how to take control of their fitness and know that like, if I can't afford a bike, if the gym's close again, if I'm end up at my in-laws house for 2 weeks, or I'm on vacation for a week, we want our members to know how to still continue their fitness.
Yeah. Yeah. So that sounds great. Can you speak a little bit more about like what people get access to when they do join your program?
Yeah, so there's a workout of the day with 3 different versions based on equipment that I mentioned before. And the more beginner or more simple version is what we call it, the shift version. Mm-hmm. And we have a demo video every day that shows what the movements look like with coaches on there, like talking about how to do them correctly. And then a bunch of what we call customizations, where it's like, hey, if you're not comfortable doing this movement with 2 dumbbells, here's how you could do it with just 1. So it's a little bit lighter. Or if there's a movement like a box jump and someone doesn't have something to jump on, we'll show them a customization for what to do instead. Or if they're not comfortable jumping, what they can do instead. So that's provided every day, and they have access to that on the website. And then we have a bunch of extra programs too, because one of the things that we believe, just kind of like what we were talking about, is there's not one path to fitness. Like some people like lifting heavy barbells, and some people that intimidates them and they're not comfortable with it, and they'd rather go do some extra running or something like that. Mm-hmm. And so we have a bunch of extra programs like sandbag training or like body weight skills and things like that people can just add in on their own, that they have access to as well. We give them some very general like nutrition, like how to figure out your portion sizes and the types of foods that you should stick with for the most part, which is just honestly real food. And then we do challenges, and we do a lot of fun stuff like that. It's a very community-based organization, and it's all online, but our Facebook group is very active, and it's really helpful for people who work out at home to see other people doing it as well, because I can't tell you the number of times that members have been like, I wasn't going to work out today. I opened up Facebook and I saw this mom freaking doing the workout while her kid was in the bathtub, like in the bathroom with him. And I was like, okay, what excuse do I have? You know? And so it's almost like a little bit of peer pressure and accountability built in when you see that many other people overcoming their obstacles. And that's a really important part of it for us.
Yeah, I think that's great. I can tell that there's a strong community aspect. And I think that's what a lot of people are missing and lacking. Pre-COVID, during COVID, post-COVID, I think we all just want to be a part of something. And I think taking care of your health in a way that like feels good to you, and having people there to support you and guide you and encourage you is super powerful.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So throughout your many years in the field and doing what you do, share with us maybe some of the transformations that you've seen in someone, how they like in a person and how they carry themselves. So not so much their body transformation, but a mind transformation. I'm sure you've worked with many people over the years. What have been some of those standout ones for you?
Probably my biggest standout one was before street parking. It was actually somebody that I trained in person who became a very close friend of mine. His name is Gustavo, and he was paralyzed in a car accident when he was 21 years old. Wow. And so he was an athlete before that. He was just a tall, good-looking guy who like had the world at his fingertips, and was in an accident and was paralyzed. And when I met him, it was maybe 10 years after that, or maybe even a little bit longer. We're the same age. So yeah, it was even a little bit longer than 10 years, but he wanted to work out, and he had been going to like a physical therapy type place, and they would have him like on the like arm bike and things like that. But he saw CrossFit somehow and wanted to try it. And so I got to coach him. And of course, everything was so modified, but we got him doing pull-ups where we would set up a pull-up bar low, and he would pull himself up out of the chair or up off the ground. We had like a modified way that he would do burpees, and we would have him sit in his chair and do like push press with the barbell. And it was one of the things that made me the best coach that I could possibly be too, because he just wanted to do what we were doing, and we wanted to help him feel like he was doing what we were doing as much as we possibly could. And you could just see, actually we had people tell us that he was kind of like an angry, like not nice person before he was training with us, but it was a way for him to get out, I think, a lot of emotion, can you just imagine just sitting all the time and having people like trying to take care of you? And most people don't like that.
No. Yeah. That sounds like I would. Yeah.
He was afraid when we first met him of falling out of his chair if he was by himself, because he didn't think that he could get back into his chair by himself. And that was something that we practiced with him, was like being able to get into his chair by himself in case he needed to. We would have him crawl and stuff a lot in case he needed to like get out of his apartment in an emergency and he was home alone. The confidence that kind of stuff brought to him, and just the change in his attitude and how he was as a person, was so huge. And that was really meaningful and impactful for me as a coach.
Yeah.
Probably the most common thing that we see within street parking, and obviously I don't get to meet a lot of these people, but we do have a lot of, it's not just moms, by the way, but we talk about the moms a lot. We have a lot of stay-at-home moms that just, they can kind of lose themselves a little bit. And just connecting with the community, being proud of themselves, achieving something that they didn't think they were going to do, being able, again, to take out some emotion and stress with maybe some loud music in their headphones for 20 minutes and just forgetting about everything else. It's all very like mentally and emotionally so important for people. We see people tell us stories all the time of like, especially during COVID, like I was in a dark place. Like this was the only thing, this group and the workouts and looking forward to that kind of stuff was like all I really had to look forward to. It was like my only break in like the same routine all the time. So.
Wow. Very powerful. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
One thing I think that is important for, I don't know, like anytime I do a podcast, I don't know who the listeners are in the sense of like where they're at in their fitness journey, how they're feeling about things. What would you say are some just like main characteristics that somebody would need to have in order to commit to a healthier lifestyle, a more sustainable fitness journey, and really just be that person that you described earlier? You get up, you do your workout, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour, whatever, you do it, and you move your body most days out of the week. What type of characteristic does that person need to have?
That's a really good question. I think most of the time when we see people who aren't already like of that mindset, because some people, they grew up in that kind of environment and it's just kind of there, but that's not super common, right? Oftentimes what we see when people become successful is they're ready to not buy into the gimmicks and fads anymore. Like they're ready to actually be like, you know what? All of this stuff is BS. And I'm in a place where I realize I am going to have to put a little bit of work in. And then on top of that, having a reason that's not associated with just how they look, because that's very temporary. And in my own life and in the lives of many, many others, what I've found is even if you get to that place, that number on the scale, that clothing size, whatever, it's not as life-changing as you think it's going to be. And now you have to maintain it. And when you're like, oh, well, I'm not really that much happier, what's going to be your motivation now to continue that lifestyle? It's got to be about, I want to be as healthy as possible for my kids, or this allows me to be the best teacher, CEO, pilot, whatever it is, nurse, whatever. This allows me to have more energy for those things, more clarity. I'm a nicer person. Whatever those things are, your why, and I think it's totally fine, by the way, to have an aesthetic goal. I think people are a little bit strange about that these days. And I think it's fine to say, hey, I want to lose 10 pounds or I want to feel better in my clothes. But there has to be something else with it as well, that's going to keep you motivated and just ready to like call yourself out on your own BS sometimes is probably the biggest thing, like having self-accountability.
Yeah. When you start to slip up or self-sabotage or like notice yourself going back into old habits and like being able to like get out of your own way.
Yes.
Yeah. I think that's huge. And I think to help people do that, you have to have a strong why. Yeah. Yes. Aesthetic can be part of your goal, but if it's your only goal, it's fleeting. It's never going to feel like it's enough. And like you said, you're never going to be happy. You're going to continuously move the goalpost. And that's just like, you're just always chasing something.
And if you're not like getting there at the rate that you want to be getting there or whatever, it's easy to be like, oh, this isn't working. Well, if your goal is more that this gives me more energy, it makes me feel better about myself, like it's good, I'm a better mom because of it, I'm a whatever, those goals it's not like a specific place. It's like I always use the example of brushing your teeth. Like, you're never done brushing your teeth.
Yeah.
Like, you have
but it's a good example. I use the same example. I use it as example all the time. Like, it really is. It's just part of you, who you are, but you're never, you could be done brushing your teeth, but then
you could try.
You could like get cavities, and then you're like, there's consequence. Like, that's the thing. It's like, we are, for every choice that we make, there's an effect to that. Right. So it's like, you can never brush your teeth again, but like, chances are your teeth will fall out pretty soon. So it's like, you could stop eating well and working out and taking care of yourself. But unfortunately, then your body's going to eventually, like, our bodies are incredible and that keep us alive. Like, our bodies are amazing at what they do. But if we take advantage of that repeatedly, eventually it's no longer going to be there for us, even though it's amazing. Like, even though it's been there, it's always been there and will always be there for you. We put it through so much, and it's still there for you, right? So we have to, I hope you guys, whoever's listening to this, I hope you take this as a way, as a motivator to just take care of your body. We're not saying to work out because you hate it. That's the last thing that's never going to work. Work out because you appreciate, if you don't love your body right now, that's okay. Because I think there's probably a lot of people listening that are like, I never loved my body. I don't know how to love my body. That's okay. But before you can love it, you first have to accept it. You have to appreciate for what it is doing for you. It's doing stuff for you. And from there, you can grow to love it, or at least like it. But we don't want to hate it. I've been there. It is an ugly, ugly, ugly road. And it just leads to a lot of disappointment, frustration, low energy, and just very trapped feeling of a life, let me tell you.
And I think the other thing, like using that toothbrush example, is another characteristic or something that somebody needs to, like, that they need to have that light bulb moment or switch, is that the all or nothing mentality. You mentioned 75 hard, which again, I think is totally fine. And there's like a time and a place for it, but it is a very all or nothing mentality. Like, if you miss one of the things on one of the days, I think you have to like completely start over. I always make the joke, like, if you forgot to brush your teeth on Thursday, you wouldn't wait till Monday to brush your teeth again. Like, you would just be like, whoops, like, I fell asleep without brushing my teeth. Let me just like get right back on that tomorrow. And I think people have this like huge, like, all or nothing. And if they miss a day, they completely quit and feel like they need to start over at the first of the month or the next Monday or whatever. And it's just like, no, just that was one meal or one workout or one day. It's over. Keep going.
Yeah, definitely. And I teach that a lot, that it's, our job, like as a coach, and I know you can relate to this, as coaches, we are just trying to get you back on the horse sooner. Like, so like, if you're used to like, working out and then not working out for 3 months, or eating well and then not working out for 3 months, eating well for 3 months. Like, if we can get you to like, in a day or 2 days, realize that like, hey, I'm not really taking care of myself so much. And you get back to doing that sooner rather than later. Like, we did a good job.
Yes.
So yeah. I love that. I love your whole, just like you said from the very beginning, there's no gimmicks. It's hard work. It's consistency. It's showing up for yourself, but it's also not killing yourself. Like, every workout doesn't need to be crazy hard or super long. More than nothing. I love that hashtag. Makes it work. I love that. Oh, this has been so great. Is there anything that we didn't cover that you maybe want to leave the listeners with or end with and share?
No, I would just say again, like, chase consistency. Have that, over like how many pounds your weight changed on the scale in a month, or how many hours you worked out, or how many perfectly put together meals you had. It's like, look at a week or a month and be like, how many days did I show up? How many, or a year even, right? How many days over the course? How consistent was I? Was I really consistent for 1 week, and then 2 weeks I was like kind of off, and then I was consistent? Like, that's not consistency, right? And it's the same for your meals. Like, instead of like, oh, I had my perfect macros for 3 months, and then for 3 months I didn't. It's like, what if you just had 80% of the time for a whole year, you were hitting, your meals looked the way that you wanted them to look, with protein and carbs and fat in there. And it was, in the right portions. And then 20% of the time, maybe you're going to get pizza or you have a few beers or whatever, but that was consistent for a year or 2 years or 3 years. Your health and your fitness and the way you feel and everything is going to be a lot further along after 3 years of 80% than after 3 years of all over the place. And sometimes you're super 100% dialed in, and sometimes you're not. So chase consistency, like gauge all of your success by how consistent you're able to be, and not how hardcore it was or how like perfect it was or how awesome it looked.
Yeah, I like that. And like, to go off that, like consistently at being like 80 to 90% on point, not 100. Like, you know what I mean? Like, how consistent are you just doing the best you can, not being perfect?
Yes.
You know, you're not going to have perfect days every day, but you can have really good days or pretty great days most of the time. And that's enough.
Yes.
Yeah. I love that. I love that. Awesome. Miranda, this has been so great. Please share where people can find you and subscribe to do some of those workouts. That sounds exciting.
Yeah, so we have a bunch of workouts, sample workouts that they can check out on the Street Parking Instagram. So it's just at Street Parking. I post a lot of random stuff on my personal Instagram too, which is at Fearless Miranda. You can go to streetparking.com to learn more about the program and all the options and things like that. And yeah, those are probably the best place. We have a pretty cool YouTube channel with a bunch of workouts and
nice
podcasts and stuff like that on there as well.
I'm definitely going to check that out. And I'm just going to end with this because I love the name of your personal Instagram. What does being fearless mean to you?
So I have a tattoo on my back that says, "Live, fate loves the fearless." And it's from a poem by James Lowell. And I think it was about the Vikings, like trying to come to America and trying to like just sail across the ocean to come see if they could find America. And the sailors were like scared. And I mean, I'm probably like totally butchering this story, but basically it was like, we just got to go for it. Fate loves the fearless. Like, you're never going to achieve anything if you're scared all the time to even try.
Yeah.
And the tattoo, I got the tattoo on my back after a bad car accident that I was in. Actually, it'll be 9 years here in a couple days ago. And basically was told by the doctors, like, if you didn't have so much muscle and weren't so fit, you would have been paralyzed in this accident, like no question. Wow. And so it was kind of like that light bulb to me of like, I was just living my life. I was doing what I love. It was when I was competing. So I was like going after my dream of all of that. And because of that, because I was living this life of what I was passionate about, it saved my life. And so Fearless Miranda just comes from that quote and the tattoo that I have on my back.
Oh my God. I'm so glad I asked that question. I just got goosebumps. That's so special. That's so great. Oh, I love that. Well, we'll have to have you back here. Maybe we'll do a live together on Instagram. You can like train some of my followers or something. Oh, that's it'd be fun. I mean, like, trust me, because like I think the episodes I do with like fitness professionals always do really well because I always am talking about nutrition and your relationship with food. So it brings in, because it's such a important element to a healthy lifestyle, you know, so I love to bring experts in to talk about it. So this has been amazing. So thank you so much, guys. If you're not following Miranda, go give her a follow. If you're not subscribed to the Tips with Tony podcast, definitely hit that subscribe button. A new episode comes out every Tuesday and Thursday. And when you're subscribed, you don't miss a beat. That is it for me today. Thank you so much for listening. As always, this is Tony Marinucci, your registered dietitian, helping you get healthy one bite at a time.